Now that you've completed Tuesday's independent practice, let's go over the answers that you should have gotten. The first question was, how many vehicles travel through the school intersection from noon to 2? So I'm going to go ahead and look down at the bottom where it says noon to 2, and I'm going to count and look all the way up until I get to the top of the line, which is 150. So that tells me 150 vehicles travel through the school intersection from noon to 2 p.m. The next question is how many vehicles were counted at the intersection from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.? Well, that means from 8 a.m. all the way at the beginning, all the way until 4 p.m. So I'm going to need to add all of the rows in order to find my answer. So from 8 to 10, I had 200. From 10 to noon, I had 50. From noon to 2 p.m., we already know I had 150 from the problem before. And from 2 to 4 p.m., I had 250. So when I add them all up, I get 200, 250, plus another 100 is 350, 50 more is 400, plus 200 is 600, plus 550 more is 650. So 650 vehicles traveled through the intersection from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. What type of day with the heaviest traffic? Well, that means the most, so all I need to do is look at the tallest graph, which is from noon or 2 p.m. until 4. So my answer is from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. What is the overall range of the data of time that the data covers? Well, from 4 p.m. or let's start from the beginning, from 8 a.m. to noon, that's 4 hours. And then noon to 4 o'clock is another 4 hours. So the total number of time that my data ranges from is 8 hours. Okay. The second page of practice problems reads 15 students were asked how much money they spent to the nearest whole dollar in the school cafeteria 1 week. Their responses are shown below. Display the data in a histogram. So here's all of our information. First, choose the intervals you want to use, then make a table of data using the intervals, then use the data to make a histogram. So they went from $0 to $4, so there's 2 there. From $5 to $9, there's 1, 2, 3 numbers there. From 10 to 14, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. And then 15 through 19, there is 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. Then they use the graph to display that as well. So again, 0 to 4 goes up to 2, 5 to 9 goes up to 3, and you can see they decided to do even numbers here. So 3 is in between 2 and 4, so that's why that graph only goes up halfway. From 10 to 14, there's 6, so that goes to line 6. And then 15 to 19 is 4, so that goes to line 4. We're going to use the information on this slide to answer the questions on the next slide. Do the table and histogram show in individual values? The answer to this is no. The histogram and table show the range of numbers, not the actual data points. What does the height of the bar graph represent? Well, it represents the number of students who fall between those ranges. And finally, the histogram at the right shows the data from the above organized into larger intervals. What might be the advantage of using smaller intervals? Well, you can see here from 0 to 9, there's 5, and 10 to 19, there's 10. But if we look back at this graph, you can tell that from 0 to 9, there's some differencing in data here. And then from 10 to 19, there's a lot of a different data as well. So that means when you have a larger range for your histogram, the data is not as accurate for us to be able to interpret. Because if you look here from 10 to 19, it says that there's 10, but 6 of those came from just 10 to 14. So really our highest number here is from 10 to 14. So we want to make sure that we separate that data here so that we really get a good view of what that data is representing.